Okay, we're live now. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Pen Connect series. I'm Lalitha, and I will be your host for the session today. I have with me here a very special guest, Mr. Suhail Mathur, a name many of you may already be familiar with. Suhail is an award-winning author and a best-selling author of mythological fiction books, the BHAIRAV PUTRAS and the Hunt for RAMA'S book. He has been hailed as one of the top 51 Indian writers to follow by eBooks India. He is one of India's best literary agents and has helped many an author achieve their dream of being published. Suhail dons many hats. He is the head of content development for a leading entertainment channel. He is a TEDx speaker and also has worked as a cricket commentator. Suhail, welcome to Pen Connect. It's a huge honor to have you here today with us.
Thanks so much, Lalitha. Thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure to connect with all you talented people, and this feels like home. And looking forward to a very invigorating session.
Okay. It is said that writing the book is actually the easy part. The hard part is the marketing part. And how does an author make a book stand out? And for a first-time author, the whole process can be very daunting because there's so many choices. And there's also competition, right, from other books and other sources of entertainment, all vying for the same target audience's attention. So here, Suhail, we really need your insights on how do you build a solid marketing plan, or how does a first-time author go about building a solid marketing plan? Yeah. Before we start the session, I'd like to remind the audience that this is a Facebook Live. You can type in questions. We will be taking these questions. I'll be highlighting these questions after the session, and we'll be addressing some of these questions. We really look forward to a very interactive and engaging session. Yeah? Okay. So let's kick off first with the first question, Suhail. So
Sure.
What are the elements of a good marketing plan? How does a first-time author go about, kind of formulating a marketing plan? Are there any do's and don'ts, or what are the things that they need to keep in mind?
Sure. Thanks so much for the question, Lalitha. I think, even when we are making our pitch, and it so happened that just in this particular week, the new authors that we are speaking to, while we are pitching for our agency work and, discussing with them, there have been at least 2 or 3 authors who have asked that, how would the agency help in marketing the book, right? So your question comes at a very pertinent juncture, and it's quite appropriate. So, the thing is that is precisely what we tell them, that, we would help you out at several intervals, because at the very first stage that you need to help an author create a marketing plan is when you're about to pitch their book to a publisher. Right. And that marketing plan, however, will be slightly different from the eventual marketing plan that comes into play. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Now, the question arises, and it has, been asked in the past that, can we send the marketing plan once we have got the publisher in place? And my response to that is very simple, which is that if a publisher has, the point why we are sending out the marketing plan is really to entice the publisher, so that they know that, hey, look, apart from a good product, this author is also wanting to promote his or her product. So it makes a publisher's life that much more easier, simpler. So the point is that if a publisher rejects it, and then I go to them and say that, look, this author has this brilliant marketing plan, please consider it. They'll be upset, because they'll say that, why didn't you send it to us in the first instance? Because ideally, wasting our time, because our team sat on it, discussed. Now that we've turned it down, you're coming back to us. So, that's not the best practice. Secondly, and most importantly, if a publisher has already accepted your book without a marketing plan, then you don't need to send a marketing plan to them in any case, right? So the point is that you always need to put your best foot forward. And which is why a marketing plan is required to be sent out. So that is the first stage. As I told you, that a marketing plan at that juncture might be different from what eventually happens, is not because an author would be writing things that they would not be implementing, but because with changing times, strategies change, newer deliverables come into play. And that is the time when, we would help them to a greater level. So what I basically do is that when I send out a marketing plan to a publisher, I guide them with respect to what they can bring to the table, because I don't want my authors to be unnecessarily pressurized. See, a marketing plan is always recommended, it's never mandatory. So if I feel that, and there have been cases, Lalitha, where the marketing plan is so disappointing, to be really honest, that if we were to send it out, it would actually work against the author. In those cases, I clearly tell the author that, look, let's do one thing, let's not send the marketing plan. Because it's better, to basically keep it ambiguous and let the publisher judge on the merits of the book, rather than they seeing that, oh, it's a good book, but this author really can't do much. So then, it'll actually work against the author. So in those cases, I actually request them not to send it out. But obviously, the idea is to send it so that, you do end up getting a deal. But the difference is that I'll give you an example. So, there were several authors, and of course, it was an unprecedented situation. But a lot of authors who, had got their book deals in agreements signed in 2018-19 had mentioned that, when the book releases, they'll launch it at X bookstore, Y bookstore. But as it eventually turned out, with the advent of COVID and everything was shut, there were no book launches that were happening at stores. So does the publisher take offense to that? No, because the publisher also realizes that, certain things will change. If an author is writing that they will get their book reviewed by, say, 10 celebrities, example, does the publisher expect the author to actually get those 10 celebrities on board? No. Even if you're able to get 6 of those, they'll be happy, because they'll realize that because 10 were written and 10 were asked for it, 6 have said yes. If 6 were written, probably 2 would have said yes. So, it's all about the effort. You should not cheat the publisher by writing something that you do not intend to do. But if you feel that you have a contact and you can explore it, whether that contact says yes or no is of course up to chance, but you are doing your best, that should be kept in mind. And so as I said, and we'll probably discuss what is the greater difference between the initial plan and the final plan later on, but I just wanted to give a sense of things. So basically, the initial plan is something that the author can do at their own end without taking a lot of external help. Whereas the final plan would be something where external help might be needed in case the author wants to go big. Because the publisher will also come up with their strategies, and we would also be guiding them. So it's a wholesome process. And I mean, any doubt, any query that the author may have at any point of time is duly resolved. So I think it's a hand-holding process, but also it's a very empowering process, because at the end of the day, when the author sees their book in print and sees accolades being bestowed upon their book, I think it makes our heart and chest swell with pride. So I'm sure that would be the case with them too. So yeah, that's how it is.
So you mentioned the don'ts, where somebody should not put in the marketing plan, the things that they don't plan to do. But what are the do's, or what are the eye-catching elements of a marketing plan? What is it that makes people sit up and notice and say that, okay, this is something different?
Okay, so see, there are several things that an author can do, but we'll come to that step by step, since it's a long conversation. I'll tell you basically what will eventually catch the eye of a publisher. It's probably not the right response, but I am giving you a practical answer, because the point is that let's all be honest over here. So see, we will come to the facets, but the one thing that I always tell my authors, to really emphasize upon is that, sometimes what happens is that an author may write that, look, I'll be taking X number of copies because I want to send it out to reviewers. I'll be taking Y number of books I want to do giveaways. So I always ensure that they write. So sometimes they write that, the author will send out copies to reviewers. And I ask them that the author will send it out, but who's buying these books? Are you buying it from the publisher, or is the publisher sending it out? Because if the publisher is sending it out, then, it's an added responsibility on the publisher rather than, someone easing their work. So if you are doing it, and 99.99% times, or actually 100% of the times, the response is that no, we'd be sending it out. So my response is that, well, if you are sending it out, emphasize that the author shall be purchasing X number of books and sending it out to Y. Try to bold that. And if you're doing giveaways, mention that are those giveaway copies inclusive of the earlier number of books that you've mentioned to the reviewers, or exclusive. Mention that, because what happens is that every other thing that an author is doing, which we will discuss point-wise later, is in the hope of getting a sale. So that is an indirect sale, right? I may want to get a newspaper review so that people read the paper, get to know about the book, and then buy it. So it's an indirect sale. I'm undertaking an activity in the hope of the book selling. But when the author writes that I'd be taking X books for reviews, Y books for giveaways, or for any other purpose, that is a direct sale. Direct sale for the publisher. So the publisher knows that, okay, at least these many books would get sold. So it always works. Every publisher wants, the books to sell. So if an author is coming up with a strategy like that, it's great. It'll work. So I think your question was, what is eye-catching? This is what is eye-catching the most. Everything else is great, which we'll discuss, but this is the eye-catching point for a publisher.
Clear. And in the overall process, what would be the involvement of the publishing house? Like, how supportive are they going to be in executing a marketing plan? Because at the end of the day, the book is the author's baby, and the author has a certain vision, but how do they work closely with the publishing house to execute the marketing plan?
So the marketing plan that the author is creating is basically the author's marketing plan.
Yeah.
The publisher has no liability or responsibility to execute it. That is the idea of sending out an author's marketing plan. Because that means that the author would be doing this. So the publisher doesn't have any responsibility to do what the author has listed over there. In fact, they would be, expecting the author to fulfill their commitment, right? But yes, a publisher will do what they have to do. That goes without saying. See, it's very simple. And Monica just asked, I'm just seeing the question, so I'm answering it over here.
I'm just going to highlight that comment. So that everyone can see it. Yeah. Does this go for traditional publishers as well?
We are only talking about traditional publishers in this conversation. We're not talking about any self-publishing houses because we don't work with them. So anything and everything that I say over here is for traditional publishers, right from the biggest names that you may have heard. Every publisher wants their book to sell. Just because they are a brand doesn't mean that they'll not want their book to sell. Everyone wants their book to sell, right? So it's like does Yash Raj want a Shah Rukh Khan in their movie or not? They want, just because they're Yash Raj, they'll not say that, okay, get me a Zayed or somebody else, with no disrespect to anyone, but just talking about the market value of the same product, right? So that's about it. But yeah, so what were we discussing? Sorry, I just missed.
We were talking about the involvement of the publishing house and the author marketing.
The publisher will do what they have to. The point that I was making was that, if an author's book doesn't sell, it's unfortunate, but it does not financially impact the author, because writing a book is not their main profession, right?
Correct.
So it is disappointing if it doesn't sell, but if the book doesn't sell, it financially affects the publisher, because that is their sole line of work. So if the book doesn't sell, they'll not earn. So you need to understand that a publisher will do whatever they can in their power to promote it. Right. So a publisher will have their own strategy. Good, bad is subjective, but no publisher will be stagnant because everyone likes their books to sell. So please be rest assured that sending out a marketing plan is just aiding and assisting the publisher. At the end of the day, the publisher, the agent, and the author, we are all a team. The agent and the author, of course, are one team, and then the publisher comes on board. But when the final product is coming out, we are all a team. So anything and everything that can work to the book's advantage should be and must be done. And I think all three parties will strive equally to do so.
Okay. Earlier you had mentioned about, pandemic world and how we are shifting towards digital. So overall, is the focus on the marketing plan now more towards digital compared to traditional like print, or is traditional marketing still relevant in a post-pandemic world?
So what do you mean by traditional marketing?
So, for
You
example,
mean
print,
book
yeah,
marketing and bookstores?
newspapers, all of that. Like, okay, publishing reviews in newspapers, for example, or should the author now focus all his time and resources on social media or, digital avenues like YouTube or podcasts to promote their book? So, where should the focus of the author
It
be?
has to be a combination of both, to be really
Hmm.
honest.
Huh.
See, a lot of people will get you likes on your post on Facebook.
Huh.
Whether or not it turns or converts into sales is
Hmm.
subjective. So, which is why I
Hmm.
often joke that Facebook is basically fake book, right? So, so it doesn't. You may get 300 or 500 likes to your post, but if you ask those 500 people whether they've bought the book, even if 10% buy it, your
Yeah.
post would be a success because
Yes.
the numbers don't eventually match up, which is okay because I think at the end of the day, I always tell people in general that whenever you're doing marketing and promotions,
Hmm.
you're doing it to promote yourself, you're doing it to promote your brand, and you're doing it to create awareness about your product.
Hmm.
Whether or not it turns into sales is very
Hmm.
difficult to say because if somebody is purchasing a book of yours on Amazon, they are not
Hmm.
writing that, hey, I saw a promo of this on Facebook or on YouTube, which is
Hmm.
why I'm buying it. So you'll never get to know. So the
Hmm.
idea is to do as much as you can because see, it's also not about only selling the book. It's
Hmm.
also about creating a brand value.
Huh.
Publishers will get to know about you that look, this is someone who's doing great work. So
Hmm.
if this person is doing great work, let's work with him or her. They'll do the same thing with us. The book may
Yeah.
sell. um, Literary festival organizers will notice you. They'll see
Hmm.
that your book is doing some kind of traction, it is being spoken about, they'll call you, and that's
Yeah.
how an author grows because
Yeah.
it's also about perception, about publishers then meeting you, creating that brand, how well you eventually fit into the environment. So it's a gradual process, and
Hmm.
I think you need to put in your best because if you're not putting in your best, then you're really leaving it to chance.
Hmm.
Everyone writes a good book.
Yeah.
Nobody writes a bad book by choice or by design. They
Hmm.
feel that the book is good, which is why they're writing it.
Hmm.
So if everyone's doing a good book, how are you creating disruption? How
Hmm.
are you creating a differentiator? You're
Situation.
creating
Yeah.
a differentiator by creating awareness about the product.
Yeah.
So you have to utilize all mediums. There are newspapers,
Hmm.
both in print and in the digital space
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
Coming to your question, who
Yeah.
are working on it. Uh, and there are a lot of activities that have actually started in the digital space which are not limited to Facebook or Instagram.
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know there are platforms like which are being utilized in different ways. So
Hmm.
it could be Goodreads itself, it could be
Yeah.
Amazon. For all
Hmm.
each and every platform these days has its
Hmm.
own benefit. You just need to know
Yeah.
how to extract the most out of it. Newspapers, celebrity endorsements, trailers are a great way to promote your book. I
Hmm.
mean, I have sold 3.5 books till now. This is the trailer. And why I'm saying 3.5, because the latest one that I made
Hmm.
is something that a producer is interested in, and I think we should be hearing from them soon.
Wow. Hmm.
You also need to understand that a producer may not have the time
Hmm.
to read an entire book. Nor
Yeah.
so see, production houses or producers are film people.
Hmm.
They're not readers. You
Yeah.
know, they're not people like us from the literary fraternity.
Hmm.
People from the literary fraternity can do a great job even if they write for film. Film
Yeah.
people may not be that adept at envisaging and fitting into the literary world. So
Hmm.
how do you make your product stand out in a minute or two? I
Hmm.
send them out these clips. We at Book Bakers have been making these book trailers,
Yeah.
and we send it out to production houses. They take a look, and there have been so many who say that, hey, this sounds great. Send that to me. You know,
Hmm.
I was
Hmm.
just telling you before the session started I had a 3-hour long meeting today with a noted producer, and I think the meeting was extremely fruitful because I was personally narrating those based on some of the trailers that I had also shared or concepts that I had narrated,
Huh.
and yeah, I think it was great, and hopefully most of them, though I'd hope all, but most of them will, I think, eventually find a home over there. So the idea is that once you back up, and again I'll tell you this, it's also very important to do reviews. I was sitting with the producer today, and this is the takeaway for everyone.
Yeah.
So Amazon reviews are very important, and there was a book that the producer was interested in. It wasn't a book that we had done, but it was a book. In fact, that was a book that was not available also anymore
Huh.
for AV adaptations. It was a book that was written 3-4 years ago or something. And the producer asked his team member,
Huh.
what kind of reviews has the book received? So the gentleman said that reviews to sir अच्छे ही हैं, 4.1 या 4.2 की average rating है.
Okay.
So he said मुझे 4.1 4.2 की average rating मत बताओ, ये बताओ कितने reviews हैं उस पे.
Oh
Which
wow.
was the deal. If I have one review which is a 5-star, so of course I'll say, hey, the book has a 100% 5-star ratio, because I'll pitch it that way. I have to do that. That's my job. But anyone who's wanting to buy it, of course, they'll do their own research on the project. So if they see that a book has 80, 100 plus reviews, always work.
Okay.
So today I pitched a book which had, of course, it had been some time since the book released, but it had 231 Amazon reviews.
Oh wow.
So the producer said, please ask the author how much would he want to sell his book for. That's how it is. I mean, that's how simple it is. So I pitched a one-liner to them, which I'm doing for all my books, and I said that, look, this book had come out a few years ago. It has these many ratings. They checked on Amazon and they said that, yeah, sounds good. Please let us know how it works. So these are things you need to do. Now, say even if someone is hiring an agency to do the reviews, you'll say, oh, okay, I had to spend 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, whatever, for those, depending on the reviews you want. But today, that person will say that, look, I spent 40,000 rupees, but today, 5 years after my book released, I got 15 lakh rupees out of it. I got 10 lakh rupees out of it. So it's an investment worth making. You never know what will click. Lalitha, there have been times when producers have said no to a book, and then those producers have come back and asked for the same book. Because what you also need to realize is that production houses are also dependent on what platforms tell them. And platforms are governed by what success a show in a particular genre is having. So today, if a crime show does well, then everybody wants to do a crime show. So suddenly they'll say, crime ki book do yaar, ye do, wo do. Then suddenly something else will take off, erotica will take off. They'll say, Arey, give us something in that space. That will go, politics will come. So, it's a cyclical process. There are only as many genres as there can be, in the literary sphere. You can have your usual 8, 10, 12 genres and the sub-genres, but it will always come back. So those kind of things are there. And
in the trailer, Suhail, I must congratulate you, because the first time I saw a trailer on the Book Baker's page, I thought it was actually a trailer of a movie. I didn't even know it was a book trailer. And then when I saw it, I was like really, really impressed. So fabulous work on those trailers.
Which one was it?
It was Vadan's book, the Vimana Transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a sci-fi movie or something, and I'm like, oh wow, very well done.
Yeah. Thank you. So that is a disruptor. So people were not doing it before. Yes, there were examples of certain authors who had created official trailers where actors had actually acted in it and all. But not everyone can spend that much amount of money. Those trailers started from 1 lakh rupees plus. Not everyone can spend that, right? So the idea is to do something which is good quality and probably 1/10 the cost, and still be as effective and send it out to a producer, so those are the things that we like to do. I mean, I also understand that, you know people like you and me and everyone around, we are all working well, and there might be a limit to what we can spend on a particular project, which brings me to actually a very important point. There have been cases, Lalita, where authors ask me, what should my budget be? And I'm answering this because there's a high possibility that somebody asks over here too.
Yeah.
What should an ideal budget be? Well, the answer is that there is no ideal budget. Number one, the least you can spend is 0 rupees. That's the least, because there are certain activities that you can undertake which will not cost you a dime.
Yeah.
Right? You're posting on your own Facebook page, that's free of cost promotion. Nobody's charging. And as far as the upper limit is concerned, well, there is no upper limit. You can spend as much as you want. I mean, Amish was running trailers of his book in the theaters. Now over there, it's like 10 seconds. They charge you per 10 seconds over there, and it was running, on a regular basis. So you can understand that itself would have been high lakhs. Or if you're calling a major, there are authors who call major celebrities. There's in fact a very major author, and I got to know that his average marketing budget for a book is 25 lakh rupees.
Wow.
25 lakhs is the average marketing budget, because if a noted film star is coming for their book launch at say a top literary festival in India, then the travel, the accommodation for the actor, for their troupe that comes along, has to be accounted for, plus of course the money that they will charge to launch the book or speak about it. So those kind of things, and which is where I want to bring in another very important point which broadens our discussion for today, which is that marketing is not just for first time authors. Marketing has to be done at all times. Again, a movie reference would be, just because a Shah Rukh Khan promoted a Kal Ho Na Ho doesn't mean that he will not promote a Pathan now. That's over and done with.
Continuous process,
It is a continuous process. You are doing that because you get better dividends. So publishers, if they're signing you up, they're expecting that this person will replicate that with us. That is why they're giving you a better platform. So nobody can rest on their past laurels. It is a continuous process. And you have to be a go-getter over there. Not everyone can be a go-getter, which is why these marketing services are offered, so that you take a back step and we do the things for you. We do an article for you. We are in conversation with you. We do a trailer for you. You don't have to come and speak in front of someone. It just makes it easy, because there are different people, they recognize things in different ways. But so that is that. So I think it has to be a perfect amalgamation of digital plus offline. So that is something that one needs to keep in mind.
You'd also mentioned about Goodreads and reviewers and reviews, how important reviews are, that you need to have like a big number of reviews. But does it also matter who reviews? For example, if you're a first-time author, you may not be able to contact, say, those influencer kind of reviewers, or how do you go about contacting them, and how do you make sure that your reviewers leave an impact, right? Because I know as a first-time author, I'll probably get my friends or my family to review, but does the quality also matter? Does it matter who reviews?
It doesn't matter if it's a review on Amazon. Doesn't matter on Amazon. Because over there it's not written who the reviewer is. It could be any lay person. It matters when you're sending out your proposal to a publisher. Who's reviewing your book. Over there you can't write my friend XYZ will review it. Over there, if you're mentioning someone, it has to be someone credible or incredible. So either of the two, so that needs to happen. Well, for that is where our expertise comes in. I mean, we guide them. We tell them that, look, these are the people. We'll take you to them. And the other advantage that, literary agency always brings, Lalita, is that, why we entered into the marketing space. I would still say that we entered the marketing space 2-3 years after the agency had taken off in a big way. because I realized that, at the end of the day, there used to be a lot of authors used to ask that, hey, my book is out now. What should I do to promote it? I used to give my advice or maybe connect them with one person, two people. But the point is that I realized that, if I'm guiding them throughout the
Yeah.
process, it's only
Yeah.
fair that, I extend that. And by virtue, what we did was that we spoke to several players in the market.
Yeah.
And because these several, what this did was that, if there are several players in the market, there will be certain deliverables which will be common to everyone. Now, for someone who's only approaching one person, they'll
Yeah.
not know what the others are doing. I am in that position to know if there are 10, who's the best out of it. And that is the best person I will recommend to my author. So my author gets the best deal and the best value for their buck, right? The second thing is that, there is greater accountability. We're not giving it out to people, who will not be adept at their work. So it's important, and it just makes the process a lot easier for the author, because they can just speak to us and we'll get that work done, because they've been speaking to us for the book, got the work done, this is this. So I thought that, okay, let's push our boundaries, and we actually did that for, a couple of months. We pushed that, we met people, we traveled, because people may say something, but are they actually delivering on that?
Yeah.
Went to bookstores, collaborated with bookstores, collaborated with newspapers, collaborated with reviewers, as you're mentioning, so that benefit could reach our authors. Otherwise, how will you connect with, say, a journalist from a particular paper if you don't know them?
Yeah. Yeah.
How does a layman do that? They can't do it. So we
Yeah.
realized that problem. I mean, there is. See, there are two ways you can go about it. You say that, ha ha ha, look, I have the contacts, I am smug about it. Now you will have to work with me. I don't look at it that way. I am like, okay, I understand this is a problem.
Yeah.
I will resolve it at my end so that I can assist you.
Yeah.
In case you feel that this is a good deliverable for you, which is why we do marketing not only for authors who we represent, but we've also done and we'll continue doing marketing for people who may not have been represented by us. I'll give you a very interesting example, and she's someone I'm very proud of. There's this best-selling author called Aditi Banerjee. And Aditi Banerjee has done some fantastic books in the mythological space. So, Aditi was doing her first book, which is called The Curse of Gandhari.
Okay.
And Bloomsbury, who was the publisher, actually connected her to us. And, we worked on her trailer and we worked on a few, marketing deliverables as well. And the rapport that we guys created was so good, and the vibe that we created was so good, that we've sold 3 more books of hers post that,
Wow.
different publishers, and I have also got her a movie deal for one of her latest books.
Wonderful.
So it's how you connect. It's the vibe. For someone who's getting published per se by Bloomsbury, may say that, oh, my book is already being published by Bloomsbury, so I don't need to do anything, right? But she knew that because she was being published by an A-list brand, the responsibility on her shoulders was that much more. And I want to take this opportunity. Smita, I've read your question. I've just answered that already, so you'll probably have to go a few steps back and see there is no range as such. And I've already mentioned that. But coming to what I was saying earlier, and to just add to Smita's question, is that, when an author asks me, Lalitha, that what should a range be, I don't tell them a range, because see, everyone has different commercial or economic capacities, and it's not our place to judge, right? So say I tell someone spend 5 rupees, but they may have wanted to spend only 1 rupee, so they'll probably spend 5 rupees. And say that, Arey yaar, we didn't want to spend 5 rupees, but Suhail made us spend that. I'm not making anyone spend it. It's your call. Parallelly, I tell someone that spend 5 rupees, whereas that person had the capability to spend 10 rupees. So over there, without knowing what their capabilities, I'm hampering their growth. So it's very important that the first response comes from the author. So if an author says that, look, I have a budget of 7 rupees, do you think it's good? I'll say that yes, it's workable because you can do ABC things. But if you feel that you can increase it to 10, great. That's how one should guide. So I think that is how one should really look at it.
There's a similar question from Sitaram Jayakumar, who's asking that should we be specifying the breakup or just the overall budget here?
I'll come to that. A very important point that I want to make, and this is for everyone to hear. A lot of authors believe and feel, and so if someone's working with a young publisher, for example, okay, and they'll say that, oh, the publisher is asking me to do X or Y or Z, which will be a very nominal ask, and it's got nothing to do with even money. Okay. They may just ask them to step up or do certain things to promote it, which is fair.
Yeah.
And you say that, oh, maybe if I would have got this brand, it would have worked. So there are two responses that I have for them. A, that if you had a marketing plan that was that good, the brand that you're looking for might have already selected your book. It isn't that your book didn't go to that brand. They took a look and they didn't take it up, because what people also need to realize is that 4 years back, the editorial teams used to take a call whether a book has to be selected or not. Now what happens is that if an editorial team likes the book, they have to pitch it to their marketing team, the sales team. And the sales team decides whether the book has to be taken or not. If it has to be taken, what the print run should be, what the MRP should be, what the advance or royalty should be. So it's something that the sales team has the final say on now. So that needs to be understood. And the bigger the publisher, the greater will be the onus on you, because a certain publisher may bring out 1100 books in their first print run. So even if your book sells 1500 copies, it is a success story because it's gone into its second print.
Yeah.
But even if your book sells 2100 copies and the big publisher has brought out 3500 copies of yours in the first print run, your book is a failure as per them. It is a book that did not do well. So it always depends on what the print is, what the need of the publisher is. So, we always want more. Yeah. But we also need to realize that if you want more, then you'll also have to do more. Because that is why publishers are where they are, because they extract that also. They do a lot, but they also expect you to do a lot.
That's an insight, because many of us think that if it's a big publishing house, okay, they'll take care of everything. There's a traditional publishing house, so we just write the book, we give it to them, they take it forward. That's been probably the impression that many of us have had. So this is
so many publishers, who have major publishers, probably take the biggest publisher in India and their biggest romance authors. There are 4 or 5 who write for them.
Yeah.
Those guys travel the entire country at their own cost and expense to promote their book. So the publisher is doing nothing for them in that sense. What they're doing is that if they're going for an event, they're getting the books available over there. But it's not as if they are paying, for that person's airfare or hotel accommodation and all those kind of things. So again, it's a brand value that you're creating. Till a few years ago, busting a myth over here, till a few years ago, a lot of publishers used to organize book launches. Not so anymore, because everyone's realized that, it doesn't work effectively cost-wise. And I'll explain it very simply. I never dissuade my authors from doing book launches, but I also don't persuade them to do so. Because the point is that it depends on whether they want to do it or not. See, I generally look at things, commercially first. So if you're doing a book launch at a bookstore, an average cost for space with chairs, the time that they're giving you would be somewhere around 30,000. Okay. Now, how many people are you inviting for a launch? Say X 100 people. You're inviting 100 people.
Yeah.
Your book is priced at 300 rupees. Okay. Firstly, 100 people never fit in a store, but I'm just taking 100 as an example.
And a lot of them will be your family and friends, right? Who are going to come for your big day.
So yeah, exactly. So I'll tell you. So if 100 people are coming, those 100 are not buying your book, because there could be, say, 4 members from the same family. Now that family will pick up 1 copy. They'll not pick up 4 copies,
Yeah.
right? So even if you end up selling 100 copies, how much have you? What is the revenue you've generated? It's 30,000. 30,000 is the amount you've spent. So it's a break even. Anything below that, and it will always be below that only, is something that will not be cost effective. Yes, I always tell my authors, if you want to do a launch, do it, because it'll give you a lot of feel good factor. It'll give you a feel good factor. You'll be the star attraction for the day, right?
Yeah.
And you'll feel nice to see your friends, family coming, signing autographs. It'll make you feel like a star. Do it. If you think that's worth the amount, that's great, right? So my daughter's over here, and she's just okay, come. It's a ritual. She always has to come. So just say a hi to everyone.
Myra, hi.
Myra, give a flying kiss.
Oh, adorable.
Yeah. So the thing is that the publishers were quick to realize that. So now if a book launch happens, the author does it. The publisher just supports them back end. Seeing to it that the books are available at the store, or making them available for the launch. That's how it is. Even for celebrity books.
Yeah.
So mostly all celebrity books have a book launch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How it works is that in those cases, the publisher pays for the space, but the celebrity pays for the food and drinks. Okay. Why the publisher is also paying for the space in that case is because it's a celebrity book, because they know that the media will come in huge numbers. It will become an event, because the media will be there in huge numbers. There will be several other celebrities who will come over there. And it becomes a ground for them to connect with those celebrities and do more books. Right?
Networking.
Plus, it also works well for their brand value, because if it's splashed on a page 3 in a paper, then people get to know about the brand, about the book, and it may help in sales. But it's 50-50. I mean, the space would still be cheaper in comparison to the food and drinks, because if the guest list is more, and generally celebrities will call the others at 5-star hotels, and the rates are really high. So that's how it functions. That's the ground reality. So Mythbuster, these days all book launches, 99% of book launches happen via the author. The idea where we come in is, we know places in all the major cities where launches could happen. So we get you a preference, because see, it's not as if, so see, earlier what used to happen, Lalitha, was that you never got a space, because it depended on whether the bookstore would give you space in the first place or not. Now what's happened is everything has become largely commercial, so probably chances are higher that you'll get it, because if you're able to spend that, you'll get the space. But whether you get it at the time that you want it or not will depend. If the space is booked, they'll say, sorry, we can't do it. We've already given the spot out. With us, what happens is, because we're doing work with them on regular basis, the amount is slightly lesser. You get a leeway in terms of the time frame that you get for your event. So if it's a 2-hour event, you will probably get 2.5 hours extendable up to 3 hours. Can always connect you with people who will do a reasonable, snacks for the guests, which isn't, very cost effective, very, very heavy on the pocket. I mean, it could be, a snack which would come under 150 rupees, and still, it would be great. So the idea, again, as I said, is to make it simpler for the author. Rather than saying that, okay, go to this store, speak to them, then look for a caterer, speak to them, arrange for the books. No. So speak to us. We'll try and get it done, everything for you, and we'll let you know beforehand that this is what it entails. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, fair enough. So that's how it is.
Okay. And going back to the evolution of the plan and the timeline for the promotion, like if you're a first-time author, you may not have a website, you may not have your own, author following or brand following, right? So what should be the timeline? For example, if I'm launching my book in a few months, should I already start pitching it and creating a website, creating a special Twitter account to tweet about, when the book is going to be released? So yeah, from a timeline perspective, how does the plan evolve?
Interesting. Always build on. So if you have, I mean, we are all very social animals, man is a social animal. So I am assuming that you would already be on Facebook, Instagram, XYZ. Sometimes it happens that authors come who are nowhere on social media, not in their life, on
Do
social
such
media.
people exist? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's very simple. They exist, but when you send it out to a publisher, they just replace the SNT and it's an exit over there. So the book also exits very quickly with the publisher. But the point is, and that's happened. I remember long back, early on in 2014, I had sent out a book by an author. It was a good book. Now the gentleman stayed in the Northeast, and he was on Facebook, but the engagement wasn't that much. And at that point of time, as I said, we used to create marketing plans, but we were not as precise as we have been since the past 4 years in that space, because we know how the drill works now.
Yeah.
The publisher actually called me up and said that Suhail, the book is good, but I'm seeing this guy's social media profile, and he hardly has any friends, or he's hardly getting any sort of traction. So how will he be able to sell the book if we take it up? And that publisher did not take the book up. Okay. So that was my first lesson. I'm just sharing my experiences with all you wonderful people. That was the first lesson, that okay, matters. Then I went to a very noted publisher's office and we were having a discussion, and they said that look, an author's profile and the marketing plan will play a very crucial role.
Yeah.
Another learning, because till then the emphasis was do a great book, do a good book, and you learn how the market is evolving. All these things happened 4, 5, 6 years ago, which is why we are where we are. And it's a very streamlined process. So when you sometimes come across people who are not on social media, or there are people who are very reticent as far as social media posting is concerned, those people, I tell them that look, I mean, we have to send a book out now, we can't wait.
Yeah.
But there will be an X month period from the time a publisher takes it up to the time they publish the book.
Yeah.
Use that time period to build your social presence.
Okay.
Yeah, if you are already on social media, start engaging with people organically. So that it doesn't seem that अरे यार ये आदमी 4 साल से तो गायब था, अब इसकी बुक आई है ना तो ये सारे दिन पोस्ट कर रहा है. It will not help. People will not buy it.
Yeah.
But if you are active, constantly talking to these people, have created a rapport, and then you come and say that look guys, my book is coming. Not everyone, but certain percentage will still buy the book because they've developed that relationship with you. So it has to be organic. Can't take people for fools, and you cannot make people fools, right? So you have to work at it. There was someone I was speaking to. He said, I'm not on social media, I'm on WhatsApp. I will send it to my WhatsApp contacts. So I said, you send it to your WhatsApp contacts. But the difference is, how does the public in general get to know that you've done a book? On WhatsApp, you have only your contacts. Only those people can get to know. So if someone was to argue with me that on Facebook also have my own contacts, I'll say fair enough. But you have other pages on which you can post, which is not a luxury that you will have on a WhatsApp group. So you have to be at least somewhere on at least one platform where you can reach out to the masses. So a good time is actually to already have things in place. But if you do not, build upon it in the interim. See, everyone wants to sell their book. Now you know that, okay, this is the cost that will come, or this is an amount that I'll have to spend. Save organically. Even if you save, say, anywhere between 5,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees a month. Okay, I'm just giving a breakup. I mean, people need not necessarily do that, but I'm just saying. The book comes out after a year. Without thinking too much, you have 1,20,000 rupees with you, which is otherwise a high amount. So you say, "Arey yaar, I can't spend 1,00,000 rupees," But you are planning meticulously. and you have the amount ready. You may not even spend that 1,20,000 for all you know. You may probably spend 70, 80, 50. I'm just whatever, 20. But it's not a burden on you at that point of time. So plan. It's always good to plan. Yeah, it's always good to plan. So that helps. And I think we have 3 questions, Lalitha, which we can take at any point of time. That's okay. So there is, I think, Bhaskwar's.
The session is almost, I mean, the 10 more minutes to go.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do all the questions and then, not a problem.
Okay. So, I mean, let's start with Bhaskwar's question. Does the marketing strategy for the author publishing house differ between fiction and non-fiction?
No, I think the same initiatives work. If you're getting a book review done, I mean, you're getting a book review done, right? So it'll not be that, okay, if it's a fiction book, I'll get 100 reviews done. If it's a non-fiction, I'll get 20 reviews done. At the end, Amazon will show the number of reviews and your book will be judged. At least an idea will happen that, okay, if the book has 100 reviews, the book would have sold X number of copies. So there's no difference between the larger goals. How you approach these goals may differ. For example, when Bhaswar was doing his book launch, right, and both of us were discussing who we should call for his book launch, as far as the panel is concerned, we zeroed in on a police officer because his book was true crime, and we zeroed in on a noted journalist because it was also a financial journalist. We got those 2 people over there, right? And I think, and people have said this, that his book launch was actually the most intellectually stimulating book launch people have seen in the last 2-3 years. So, my congratulations to him. But since he's asked that question, I just wanted to use his own example for everyone else that, that's how it differs. Basically, how you are planning for it. People do self-help books. It's very important to have some sort of a backing of your credentials with that. And I'll explain what I mean. Personally, I have no such hang-ups. Okay. So what the example that I'm giving is that, say today I write a book on cricket and I have zero experience in cricket. Suppose I was not a cricket commentator. I didn't know about obviously I'm writing a book, I'll know about the game, but say I wasn't a cricket commentator. And I write a good cricket book, sports book. And say tomorrow Sourav Ganguly comes and he writes an average cricket book. I'll ask everyone whose book will sell more. Just let me know. Answer is unanimous. Sourav Ganguly's book will sell more, because people know Sourav Ganguly. They know he's a cricketer. So if he's doing a book on cricket, the authenticity is more.
The credibility is.
Yeah. So otherwise, I'll be like, why should I read this guy's book? I am also in India. Everyone is a cricket expert. Okay. So why should I read so and so's book? I know for my own self what my opinions are. So you'll have a lot of people who will give. So recently there was this book that came to me, which was about advice to how you could make marriages work. Okay. How you could make marriages work. And that gentleman was a banker. So I asked him that, what is your expertise in this subject? No, I have experienced people. I have, seen them, analyzed them. It's not going to work. If it's not going to work, I don't have any problem in it because I'll probably still take it up. But the point is that I have to sell it also at the end of the day, right? So my eventual customer is the author. And the author, is the publisher, and the publisher's eventual customer is the reader. So the point is that you need to have that. My earliest learning in this field was again in 2014. I keep going back to 2014 because that's when we did our initial set of work. So we were doing a book on corruption in India. There was a book, our author Mr. Anangpal Malik did called Corruption in India, and there was a very major publisher who was interested in it. And they said that, look, Suhail, he's written a book, but he's not from, say, the revenue services or from, the customs department. So it'll be difficult for us to take it up. Fair enough. So that was the first learning that I had, that you need to have some sort of a background.
Yeah.
The book did fantastically well.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
fantastically well.
Hmm.
Because I believed in it. So, I brought it out. I mean, as in, I continued my pursuit, on the same, and we got a book deal, and the book did phenomenally well. But the point is that I also understood that these are things that work in publishers' mind. So the thing is that on a publisher's mind. So you need to also keep that in mind. So write
Hmm.
something you have some sort of an expertise on.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
helps.
Very clear. I'm taking another question. I think this is from Divya. We've kind of touched this, but maybe I'll just highlight it just in case there's anything else to add. Uh,
Yeah, I think there are two more, Urmi and Sitaram. After this, there are two more.
yes. And I think Alpana asked something as well. Yeah. So, what kind of marketing strategies does the traditional, I think we discussed this, right? Traditional publishing houses plan, and how has it evolved during and after the pandemic?
Maybe it will differ from publisher to publisher. So let's see who's the publisher you received, and then you'll be able to find out. I mean, there is no hard and fast response for that. Every publisher plans differently. Every publisher has different ways to promote the book, but you need to understand that irrespective of what a publisher does, they are doing their best up to their capabilities, right?
Hmm.
So always keep that in mind. You will be in a happy space. Otherwise, one will never be in a happy space. I've seen publishers, I've seen authors working with the biggest of publishers, and still cribbing. अरे यार उतनी प्रमोट नहीं की जितनी चेतन भगत की करते हैं, उतनी प्रमोट नहीं की जितनी एक्स की करते हैं, वाई की करते हैं. So be happy with what they're doing, and you also do something, because see, an author is doing one book in a year, but a publisher is doing 4 books every month. So there's only that much time that a publisher will give to a book to promote it, because they have to be fair to all their books. So
Yeah.
you are the one who needs to keep the momentum going. That's the harsh reality of today's times. Nobody else is going to come and say you've written a good book. You have to first say I have written a good book, for people to actually say yes, yes, you have written a good book. Otherwise, every good book will get lost. So that is, it get lost in the crowd. So that's how it basically is. So what kind of marketing strategies? Please write a book. Give us the opportunity to represent it. Once we have a publisher, we can discuss that.
All right. So Urmi's question, I think, about reticent people, you did touch, you didn't mention it earlier. I'm just highlighting it. So I think it's just like, how do you get people to come out of their shell and go ahead and promote their book?
Yeah. So see, basically, Urmi, which is why people connect with us. People who may not. So see, if it's a newspaper review, or say if it's a newspaper interview, for example, you're not talking face to face with them. They'll probably share questions with us. We'll share those with you. You can write it down. We'll do the work over there and see to it that it comes out. So you are media shy, you're camera shy, but you don't have to come in front of the camera at all times, right? Having said that, it's difficult in today's day and age to be an Aditya Chopra, because nowadays Aditya Chopra also gets clicked here and there. He was just clicked a week back eating ice cream on Rani Mukherjee's birthday. So what we need to understand is that with the advent of technology and media, one needs to grow with the times. So some sort of shyness needs to go away, but still, for such people, it's a boon that these things are available. What these are, you can always discuss with us, and we'll be happy to do it. Everything from reviews to newspaper coverages to trailers to celebrity endorsements, the to radio interviews. The field is really wide, and I think you just need to find out what works for you and what will help you in the long run.
Right. So I hope that answered your question, Urmi. We had Sitaram's question. I think we earlier highlighted it. Yeah, I hope I can. Yeah, it's coming up now.
Is it okay to specify the amount of money? Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. But then, what I've also seen is there are two kinds of things that will happen. So probably if you tell the author or the publisher that, I'll spend X amount. So firstly, that amount should be enticing for them. Generally, what publishers will do is that, okay, instead of doing all these activities, let us do these activities. You buy the books from us for that amount. because they see it as direct sales. They'll still promote it, but they know that okay, these many books have sold, so it works well for them. So or it may just give them a notion that okay, this author is paying this much, so probably he or she wants to go into the paid mechanism. So now certain traditional publishers also have that field. A normal layman will never get to know whether it's traditional or not. Okay, for certain books it is there, like 2% basically, that's or 1%, that's the thing. So it's not as if one starts questioning, oh, he's been published by this, whether it would be organic or not. No, it's just 1% or 2%, but that option is available. But what if the author is just writing it for the traditional way and not the other way with that traditional publisher? It just leads to a few things. So can do it, but I don't know how effective it is. May as well discuss this. You may as well discuss this. So what we do, Lalitha, which is what I was saying, was that closer to the release, when the book is actually going to come out, that's the time, we discuss these marketing deliverables heralded by external agencies and who are working with us. And I share that plan with my authors, so that if they want something at that point of time, they say that, yes, this works for me. I'll tell them this is the cost. You go ahead with that. What you're doing organically, you're already doing, which you have committed to the publisher. But now these are the additional things that you can do to promote your book. And it can work well. Rashima was over here. I saw her comment. Lalitha ma'am was here. I saw the comment. Both of them were very aggressive as far as their marketing is concerned. And you can see the best of brands have promoted their book. So obviously the book also has to have merit. I mean, tomorrow if I go to Times of India and they don't like the book, it's not that they'll still go ahead. But yes, because they know us, it becomes easier. And I am fairly confident because I am representing the book, so I know that the book is good in the first place.
And that you mentioned Rashima, I know that for her novel, she actually created, graphic characters like for Lisa and for Karan. And wow, that was like really amazing. Like you could actually...
Yeah, so we did that. We created those characters for her. She had an idea that let's create those characters. So we have an art team. Our art team created those characters. So it helps people visualize, So again, I was speaking to a publisher, and a publisher said that a book is doing fantastically well. Now, why is a book doing fantastically well? Because she's also put in a lot of effort and time to promote it. You'll get the results, and not only that, she's done another very commendable thing. And you're part of our WhatsApp group as well. She has been a regular supporter of other people's books, and not just through lip service, but actually going ahead and buying it. So you create that environment that this person bought my book, I must also buy this person's book. So it helps. It's always reciprocal. There might be a few defaulters who will probably not buy a book even if you bought it, but in the long run, they're bringing their own downfall, because the second time around, the other person will not show the same courtesy, right? And also the percentage of these people are few and far in between. Generally, people in our industry, or at least in our group, in our agency, because we all are, in a very nice space. You've seen how the bonhomie over there is. People buy it. I also, when I write to them, just say that, hey, so-and-so's bought your book. Please buy this person's book when it releases. So that's the kind of market we need to create. And it works well, yeah.
So we have two or three more questions. Do you have the time? I know we've already overshot on time. Can we take two more questions? Or
sure.
Okay. So Ratna Prabha is asking how to get the news of the launch of a book published in newspaper without a press meet.
Okay. So you don't need to meet the press. You just need to meet me. So just drop me an email on thebookbakers@gmail.com and I'll help you out. Not a problem. We can always work this out. If we've done it for online launches that are happening, even online launches, and it's been reported widely in the media. The idea, Lalitha, is to be smart. You can always do a launch, and media pay the media to come, and still the best brands may not come, because unless you have some celebrity coming, some actor coming, some cricketer coming, they'll not show an interest. But the idea is that even if you're sitting in your house and you're calling people who are achievers, may not necessarily be actors or cricketers, but achievers, people from the literary world, you'll still get the best of brands to feature that
Huh.
at much, much, much less a cost compared to what your cost would have been if the media would have actually come. Plus the space premises that would have cost you, plus the snacks, food, all those things. So write to me, I'll be able to help you out, Ratna Prabha.
I'm going to take the last question from Alpana.
Sure.
So, what's the scope or way forward for children writing for children or kid authors? Any advice for them? Is this from a marketing perspective?
Yeah. Just ask your parents to connect with me. That's the only thing one can say. I mean, obviously, children don't have the funds, and you shouldn't talk money with children either. I mean, so see, generally, in any case, even the contract that would be signed by the guardian. So I mean, underage person signing a contract book with a publisher in any case is not valid. So the point is that you need to do that, and there are ways. Yeah, I mean, parents of young kids are always very happy to do something for their children because they know that they're encouraging them. They're not indulging them, they're encouraging them.
Definitely.
Indulgence would have been different. They're encouraging because the child has actually written the book, so the child has shown that they have the capability, they have the talent, they have the merit. The parents are just giving a proper channel to it. So it's always something that we discuss, and mostly people are happy to do that.
So I think I'm going to wrap up the questions, but I'm going to put this last comment up by Rashima for everyone to see, which kind of, wraps up this whole session nicely. So she writes that led by Suhail, the Bookbakers is truly a powerhouse of talent and the best place for an author. The support and warmth we receive as part of the Bookbaker family is wonderful. I fully agree with you, Rashima. So thank you for this wonderful session, Suhail. There were so many insights, and I mean, I had no idea that there were so many avenues of marketing, and I'm sure many an aspiring author in the audience would have, so many takeaways. So this has been like a master class. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and
No, it was great. Yeah, it was great. As I was telling you, I've never done a session solely based on marketing, and marketing is something that is ruling the roost. So anyone who wants to write to us, please do it. Or connect with the Penmancy team, and they'll connect us with you. So please feel free to do so. And I think it's the way forward. It's the need of the hour, basically. You and I have not set the rules of the game. The publishers always set the rules of the game, which are actually created by the readers. Because it will depend on sales. At the end of the day, any creative pursuit ultimately has to be a commercial pursuit, right? So the rules have been created over there, and if you want to be on top of your game, if you want to be smart, if you want to be a winner, it's best to adapt with a friend rather than going through motions and people who might be out there to squeeze the most out of you. So yeah, that is. Thanks so much for having me over, Lalita. It's your first session as a moderator. You've done a fabulous job. Huge round of applause for you. And Kajal always for being so kind and getting me over here. So looking forward to many more sessions in the future, and thanks for having me over here.
Thank you, audience. You've been a fabulous audience, amazing interaction, great engagement. The video will be available on Facebook. You can go back, take notes, tag your friends, and share the video so that they can also benefit from this session. Thank you very much, and good night, everyone.
All right. See you.
End the broadcast. Yeah.